is not there, it will automatically get deleted. So these containers are very dynamic in nature, and the IP address keeps on changing. So you really don't configure applications based on container machine name, container name, as well as the IP, because they keeps on changing. The reason I'm actually telling you this, to understand if you're running some Docker PS, to understand how the host name as well as name works actually. Now I want to create a container C3. My problem is I really don't want to go inside the container. Okay, I really don't want to give the bash actually. So what I can do is I can say like inside C3 as well as 3, and if I give D for detached, okay, if I put DAT, hit enter, what will happen? See, I'm back to my operating system in my EC2 machine itself. But if I go to Docker PS, as you can see, I have 3 containers. Okay, 1 minute, guys. Okay. Right.
Harsha,
Yes.
Karthik here, one doubt, Harsha. So we
Yes,
have
go ahead.
created these 3 containers, right? So correlating with your initial explanation, these 3 containers are the 3 different process IDs in our Linux
Yes, yeah.
machine, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
And this container engine is nothing but Docker,
Yes,
where
yeah.
we manage. And sorry, third one, this repository image you imported, right, from your registry, Sri Harsha rolling update. So in this case, right, this image is just a Linux machine, Linux image, correct?
Yes.
So
You can also have
tomorrow
Windows also. Yes.
we will have Windows also, and same thing, you can have Java app as well, anything, right?
Anything you like, yes. See, the
Okay.
reason is not many people, I mean, I didn't see any companies who are actually running Windows and running containers on that one. Why? First thing is Windows is not free. That's a big problem. It's not open source, right? You need to pay a license for that one. If you say Ubuntu or CentOS or Fedora, they are free. Of course, Red Hat Linux is there, but you really don't need to pay any license. Second thing is, if you see most of the applications, okay, they are running on Linux oriented, like Apache, Tomcat, everything, right? Yes, Windows is there, but if you want to run the Windows right now, I can't do it here. I need to run on a Windows box. Basically, I need to create Windows, install container system Docker on that one and run it. So that's why I didn't see anyone, at least in my experience, using Windows servers for running Kubernetes. I think Kubernetes don't even support Windows, by the way. It won't support, it's only support Linux. So
Okay.
what you can do is you can actually ignore the Windows right now. Maybe it will
Okay.
take a few years later. So most probably wherever you go, they're not even going to ask you. And even if you say I'm working on container systems on Windows, they will see you which enchantment actually, sorry, enchant, what I'll say, like or surprise, I can say, like. So in that one, people never use that one. Okay.
Okay. Harsha, one last doubt, Harsha. So if I have a Java app, right? For example, if I created a Java container, right? Will that Java container will be inside your Linux image, or it would be a separate image altogether?
Now what will happen is, uh, if you want to create a Java, right, first what we're going to do is it should have a runtime environment. So what we're going to do is we're going to create, first I'm going to get a container running. Let me show you what I'm going to do. Okay, since you asked it, right, let me complete this one. Let me show you the IP addressing, and then we go to the image. I'll show you how to create the image. Okay,
Okay. Okay, Harsha. Yeah.
now what we'll do is, if I type Docker PS, and I'm getting all these 3, right? So what I'm going to do is, if I say Docker inspect, I'm going to say like so outside C3, right, you should see it is actually got the IP address of 117.04. So I'm going to run a grep, actually grep -I. I'm going to take this IP address. For C3 you can see 04, but if I go to C2, it will be sequential, guys. If you check it out, and 2 is the container one, and 1 is actually the Docker gateway, which is if config. If I type, this is the Docker gateway here. So if you see carefully, see, this is the Docker 0. Now if you see carefully, whenever you create a new container, it will create a virtual Ethernet interface. See this? 3 containers are there, so it will actually create a 3 virtual Ethernet interface. And as I said, this is the picture. This is as per this picture, what it is going to do, it is going to connect to the internet. So if I let me check it out if the ping works. Normally I'll do one thing here. I'm going to stop all these things. Okay, I'll say docker, I can, okay, docker ps, I can stop something like this, docker ps, or sorry, docker stop, and I can give something like this. I can give like this, and everything will be stopped. The problem here is they will stop, but they are not deleted actually. I'll say docker ps -a, you will get see this here again. Docker ps, you need to, sorry, docker rm, you need to give something like this. Now how can I make sure that if the container stops, it should be automatically deleted? What I'm trying to say is docker ps -v. Imagine I want to create some 10 containers. Can I write a code? Let's see. I really don't want to create docker run everything. I'm going to give I is equal to 0 while dollar hyphen less than, sorry, dollar I hyphen less than 11. I'll say do docker run. I'm going to give hyphen dit. Okay, hyphen hyphen name. Okay, I'll say c dollar I. Okay, c dollar I hyphen hyphen host name c dollar I. Okay, and image is Sri Harsha v rolling update v3. I think run. Okay, fine. Here I'll say I equal to dollar I plus 1, and I'm going to run done. Done. Okay, so what I'll do, if I say docker ps, now I'll get something like this. Now if I want to terminate all these things, the short way I can stop all these things, right? I can't really go docker stop c1 c2 c3. No, I can't do that, man. So I need to use in a different way. How can I do that? Let me show you. If I type docker ps -aq, right, you will get all the list of the docker containers IDs actually. Now what I can do is docker stop, and then I'm going to give something like this. It's a nested command actually, docker ps -aq. Now what will happen? First, whenever in the Linux, right, which I told you, right, if you use a command like a dollar inside a command, it will get executed first. On the output, it will execute these commands. Let's check it out. Done. If I put docker ps, it's there, but the problem is it's in stopped mode. If I give -a, still it is there. So I want to delete them as well. I'll say docker ps -a or aq. I'm getting this one right. So what I'll do is docker rm, give like this, done, gone. Okay, now my problem is, okay, I'm okay, but what I want is I really don't want to, this is very annoying to stop it and delete it later. So can I do something about it? Yes, you can do that. I'm going to use the same thing. Only thing, I'm going to use a simple command right now called as -rm before dit, right? I give -rm. What is this -rm? When I do this, so docker container will be deleted. By any chance, if it stops, it will be deleted directly. It won't be in the stopped mode. It will be. Let's try it out. I think I'll say right now it is already I is equal to already, right? So I will do one thing. I'll say I equal to 1. Okay, I'll hit enter. Okay, done. Now if I say docker ps, now you should be able to see c1 c2 c3 c4 c5 7 8 9 10 containers are running. Okay, 10 containers are running, and if I stop them, okay, so again docker ps, sorry, docker stop docker ps-aq, what will happen? They'll be all stopped. If I type dear docker ps-a, if you see, they're all deleted actually. How come? How can this happen? Because of the small trick where we have given -rm, guys. The moment you give rm, you always need to give rm, because if you don't give that one, right, the docker containers will be in the stopped mode and it will start eating up your space unnecessarily. So you always need to give -rm. Okay, so what this will do, it will basically uh, whenever it is stopped, right, automatically it is deleted. Always use the -rm. Okay, good. Now one thing you need to understand about the docker images, basically there is a separate class for understanding the docker file, but today I'm going to show you how can you create an image. We don't follow this way of creating images, guys. We use docker file, but I'm going to show you what exactly an image contain. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say docker run -rm -dit, or I can say like -dit. I'm going to say I need Ubuntu. Basically I need Ubuntu. If you see, I'm not giving any Sri Harshavi, because if I don't give anything, it will check for a default Ubuntu which is given by official Ubuntu and download it. What I'm trying to say is, if I go to hub.docker.com, and if I go here search for Ubuntu, so it is given by directly the Ubuntu itself. If I go inside, right, they will say you can just pull Docker Ubuntu. You don't need to give the repository name before. These are official images, so you can do that. So that is what I'm doing right now here. So what I'm doing, docker run --. See, you can say like, sir, you didn't download the image. I really don't need to download the image, guys. When you run docker run, first it will download image automatically and then run the container. The reason I showed you earlier is to show how to download the images. Actually, when you run the container, right, if the image is not available locally, then it will download from the container. Okay, so it's a docker run -rm -dit ubuntu 16.04. Okay, and I'm going to say bin bash, or simply I'm going to say bash, or I don't require because I gave the dit, right. Hit enter. Sorry, single. Hit enter. Now what is, it's not able to find locally, it is saying, right, unable to find image locally. So it's downloaded and it should be started actually. So if I say docker ps, you can see it is there. Now what I'm going to do, docker, if I go inside the container, docker exec -it, and I'll say hard. Okay, that is the name. I'll say bash. Now I'm inside it. Now one thing you need to understand about docker images is, you see the docker image. Okay, let me go back once and say type docker images. If I type docker images, if you see the Ubuntu size of the Ubuntu is 129 MB only. What exactly you're going to put in 124 MB, right? So what you need to understand is the images should be as small as possible. That is why what they do is they will remove all the components which are not mandatory. For example, if I run a ping, right, ping www.google.com, it will not work, guys. By default, ping won't work in containers. Okay, it won't work. See, if I type if config, it won't work. Okay, if I type what else the other commands is there, if I type wget, it's not there. If I say curl, it's not there, because these are all not mandatory to run the Ubuntu. So whichever is not mandatory, they will be removed. Most probably, like simple commands will be there, like ls should be there. If I type ll, so it will be there actually. So basic commands will be there, but a lot of packages are missed. Now what I'm going to do is, I basically want to install the required packages. For example, if I want to install nginx and everything, or I need to install apt, first I'm going to run apt update. Just like any Linux server, inside the container I'm running the apt update, and I'm going to install necessary softwares. Is a apt install. I think nano also won't be there actually. See, if you see, nano also won't be there. So I'm going to say apt install net hyphen tools actually. If I why, yeah. if I type ping not ping actually, if I type if config, it should work now. See if we got it, because nettools is there. Similarly, I need to install apt install ip-utils ping, sorry, ping, no, not ip, ping guys, ping utils. So or apt search ping install ping, which should show, yeah, this one, ip-utils ping, sorry, apt install. Okay, now I'm also install apt install, I'll say, if you want to give cow, say nano, as well as wget curl -y, I'll give, right? Now whatever things it's going to install actually, apt say, sorry, cow, not causa, say. So this is how you can actually install the packages, but you should not be installing packages earlier itself, because it will make the size of the image very large. So for example, why you should not install all this? Because maybe the cowsay nano wget curl might not be used by all the clients basically, right? Many people really don't need that one. So what we do, we will create the image with base things. If there are any project specific jdks or .NET REST, they need to install. Okay, now I have everything. If I say ping www.google.com, it's pinging. Similarly, I say, for example, say cows say, it's not install or what? Yeah, it is there. It's already saying it is there. So why it is not running? Anyway, so now we have installed what are all the things required here. Now what I want to do is I want to actually convert this into a image. How can I do that? I can come back, basically come back here. If I say docker images right now, sorry, docker images, you can see the images are there here. Now I'll say docker ps. Now what I can do is I can actually convert this into a image. How can I do that? Docker, the command is docker commit actually. So the docker commit, and what I can do, docker commit container id is, this is the container id. Then you can give the repository. So I'll do one thing, I'll say Sriharsha v. Okay, this is my repository, and I'm going to give something like new Ubuntu v1. So this is the repository, and this is the new Ubuntu v1 is the tag. If I hit enter, then an image should be created. Okay, so if I say docker images, now you have your Sri new Ubuntu. Now what I can do is docker, I can say docker push, I can actually push it to the registry. Now it is saying access denied. So what I need to do is I need to do a docker login first. Okay, so again docker push. Now you can see it's actually uploading. This is how you can actually, this is not exactly the same way do it guys, because when you're using CI/CD pipelines using Jenkins, we are not going to use the commit actually. See, docker commit is only used when you already have a container and then you want to convert that as an image. Yes, you can use the docker commit, but not for regular use. Regular use, we're going to use something called as docker file. Okay, docker file, which is very important, which we're going to talk in the coming days. Okay, right, so let's check it out if it is pushed or not. Let's refresh it. See, new Ubuntu is there. This is how we can push it, or you can also delete it. What I can do, I can go, once it is done, I can actually go back and also delete repository. It can be done. See, everything by default you create is public, guys. So you need to be careful about that one. Don't put any passwords and all these things in that one. Okay. Right. So let's go back now. Okay, any questions, guys, on creating of images? Okay, I'm going to explain Dockerfile later, but until now, any questions? Now, what will happen is when you push it, right, basically it will be having a latest image. Basically, it's a tag, right? Don't think there's something else. It's just a tag. So if you see tags 134, right, something like this, you can give the, if there is a latest tag available, then it will download. Otherwise, it won't do. So don't think latest as something. It's just a tag name. That's it. Okay.
So by using these containers, you can reduce using of EC2 instance, right?
Sorry, I didn't got you. Come again.
By using these containers, you can reduce uses of EC2 instance, right?
Yes, yeah. So because earlier, if I want to run the 3 applications, right, I need to have 3 EC2, but I'm using the containers, I can run in one container all the 3 applications. So it reduces a lot actually. That's why it's becoming famous. Now, now, okay, the problem here is I can, because I'm not going to cover networking today, guys. I still have some 10 minutes left. What I'm going to do is, I'll say Docker PS, and I'm going to Docker stop. Okay, now I'm going to start a Nginx rolling update, right? And how to access this. Earlier, right, we are actually, if I type history, and I'm going to give like grep -1 IC2. Okay. Now, if you see the commands which I run here is docker run -it -name and these things basically. Now, the problem with this one is if you run this one, the container will be running, but you won't be able to access the container. If you want to access the container, what you are supposed to do is you need to open a port, guys. You need to publish a port called as -p or --publish. How I'm going to do that is I'm going to explain more about network next week, guys. During that time, I'm going to explain what are the things you can do here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Docker this one. I'm going to copy this, and here I can give -publish. This is one way of doing, and hyphen, you can use -publish, and you need to give 2 ports, guys. 8000:80. See, what is this 8000:80 is at high level in this picture. So imagine you're going to install Nginx on C1, C2, and C3. All the 3 containers have C1, C2, C3, and all 3 are operating at 80, 80, 80. TCP 80, all the 3 operating at 80, 80, 80. Now, which one I need to connect? Which one I need to connect? So if somebody trying to connect to here, this one, because no one can directly connect to these two. Okay, no one directly can connect to the containers. Basically, that container should always be reached through in this way. From here it should go to this one, like this. Now the problem here is, so the containers are operating at 80, 80, and 80. Okay, how can I make it available to outside world? That is where we're going to use something called as port forwarding, guys. Now if I publish the port in 8000:80, I can do something like, if 8000 is to, it will go to the first server, 8100:80 second port, second server, like 8200:80. I need to understand a deep network what is going on. So what this will do is, so what I can do when I'm creating the container, I can do in such a way, if somebody access 8000, I should get it, or 8100, I should get it, or 8000, I should get it. I can do in such a way. That is actually port forwarding. You'll understand more next week, don't worry. So what I'm going to say is here. So what I'm going to do, publish 80:80. Now I'm going to give Sriharshavi rolling update and version 3. I'm going to give bash actually. It's done. I'm going to say service engine start because it will be stopped. Now, if I go back and type docker ps, right? You see here, this is the important. Earlier, you won't see this one, docker ps. So it is saying whole world, that means 000 can connect to 8000 and it will go to 80. Okay, whole world should connect to 8000. Which IP address? It is the IP address of your host. Why you call the host? See, Docker containers are guests running on a host, which is this one. So if I copy this, paste it here, and access 8000, right? And you'll get something like this. Okay, but if I type 8100 and 200, let's see what will happen. Okay, 8100, obviously you won't get anything because I don't have a container running under that port. So let's try to do one thing. Let's try to run it. So I'm going to run 8100 is to 80. Similarly, I'm going to use 3, and what I can do, I don't need to give publish, guys. I simply give -p. Done. See, I'm inside. I'll say service nginx start. I'm going to come down again. I'm going to go here. I'm going to give 8200. Four, done. Okay, so service nginx start. So docker ps, if you see, see 8001 and 2. Let's check it out, is it working or not, guys? So 8001 earlier it was not working, now it is working. Similarly 8200, it is working. So this is how I can run multiple containers on a host and still give access to internet. So the whole world can be connecting. So you really don't know, right, what is happening. I can actually see, I'm giving this port. You can actually connect use without the port as well. You understand that in advance actually, but so many people don't know that, right? They think that this is a server, they are running on a server, but actually it is actually running on a container. So what we'll do is in the next week, right, we're going to talk about networking, guys. We'll go inside the network, understand how exactly traffic is coming, and we also talk about the Docker file, as well as we also going to talk about the Docker swarm and everything. I think next week, as well as on later Saturday as well, next 3 days, we need to talk about next 9 hours. We're going to talk about this Docker itself. Okay, questions, guys? Have you got it right, what I just said? How the port forwarding? Questions, guys? Chalo, let's stop it here, guys. I need to run for the office, so I'll upload the yesterday. I know that it was being delayed because I'm going to upload yesterday's videos now, and this will be in the evening. Okay, see you next week. Don't miss the next week. Okay, we'll catch up later. Bye, folks.